Good evening.
Hey there, welcome to Irish Spring Talks. Today's show is brought to you by Bob Saget, and we are discussing the issues that matter. So, guys, today's whole show revolves around the topic of Scooby Doo and Mystery Incorporated.
That's right, Raggy.
Yes, so
That's good stuff.
all of our talking points and everything will be based around the whole Scooby Doo franchise.
A classic.
A classic.
Like, are you calling me old, dude? Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
It's going for Scooby and Shaggy.
So why don't we start off talking about the villains of Scooby Doo?
All right.
Favorites, or?
Yeah, do you want to do favorite villain?
We can do favorites.
All right, we'll do favorites, and then, like Landon said, we'll do creepy villains.
okay.
So.
Okay.
It's pretty creepy.
I'm gonna go with the Creeper just because it always sticks out to me, and I've always liked that episode. I don't know, something about the Creeper.
The Creeper was a class. I'd have to say the Creeper as well, or yeah, no, I'd say the Creeper is my
For
favorite.
me, like, favorites for me, maybe the Creeper, the Black Knight,
The Black Knight was good.
that glowy Captain
Captain
Cutler.
He's a pretty good one. And, yeah.
Okay.
My favorite villain is actually, well, okay, it's just because of the movie it was in. It was not one of the show. It was the Phantom Virus. Because I liked the whole deal about the magnets, and I don't know. I also can't think of any other villains that I really liked. It's like an hour and a half movie. You don't have to watch.
Oh no, I would watch. I'd watch it. It's
Alright, and some of the creepiest ones were, like, these chain guys.
Oh, they
They were
Yeah.
scary. Okay,
And-
some of the villains were just funny,
right.
but
The
there
Mummy.
were some scary.
was
The
pretty
Mummy
creepy.
was a good episode.
That was good.
And then this
Yeah.
guy, he's pretty.
We should probably clarify that we're talking about the Scooby Doo Where Are You?
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
where we're
This-
sitting right now.
This blue guy you see, like, in the intro with, like, the cleft chin, he was
Yes.
that guy
He
was
was-
creepy.
He was he in the puppet episode where they went to the
No.
The puppet, this guy.
Oh, okay.
I think he's the guy when they go to Daphne's uncle's house.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yes.
because that was
The Dr. Jekyll one.
Yeah, in the
That was
in
a
the
good one.
halfway through the series in 1970, they switched the theme song. I mean, they made it more like sound like the Beatles sang it, which I figured out the artist
There's a bunch
at one
of times in the show. It's
Yeah.
like Beatles or like, it sounds like Beatles or
Yeah.
the Beach Boys.
When they threw in those,
yeah.
when they threw in those chase scenes. Sorry, I was on a roll here. When they threw in those chase music, they switched the theme song, and then that house is actually the house that you see. I'm pretty sure with the
Yeah.
bats and everything. I skipped that episode every time. I'm sorry. That's the creepiest one I've ever seen.
I think the puppets one is creepy personally. I don't know.
That was-
that one. Like I always ran to my mom to watch it with me. I like that one. Yeah.
Okay, my least favorite villain, if we're still on the topic of villains,
Sure.
the robot at the carnival.
See, I liked that episode.
The
the robot
sucked.
or the space coupe?
The robot.
Okay, the
Oh,
robot.
the space coupe.
I didn't like the space coupe at the airfield.
No, yeah, that was a bad.
I don't like that guy.
No. Well, it was dumb because it's been a while since I've seen it, but as I recall, it turns out that there was just a robot
Just
terrorizing
malfunctioned.
them.
Yeah, it was
wasn't
a malfunctioning
He wasn't
robot.
a bad guy. He was
Right.
just
He was
an
just-
accident.
Well,
Yeah.
it was actually the owner. It was his wife who like screwed up his circuits or something. I don't remember exactly. I watched it a couple weeks ago.
Okay, this guy, the guy in the ice block with the.
The caveman
The
guy.
I don't think
cave-
I.
he was
yeah.
creepy too.
I don't remember liking
There were
that one.
some times when I was a kid, I was scared, or like my sister would like, "You're lucky you're allowed to watch this bad show." Like,
Oh, because she wasn't allowed to. When she
I don't know,
was
she
that
just
young?
thought it was like bad. Like, there were some pretty scary episodes actually.
Did you guys used to think before you were knowledgeable that like Scooby Doo was like filmed like when you were watching it? Like I used to think Scooby Doo was filmed in the '90s, and I was like on top of these recent shows.
like the
Yes.
cartoon.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you're talking about like in that stage when you like don't understand about TV and where you think
or
everything
like the interviews that they would like animate of them, like
Yeah, like interviewing the gang.
yeah. I'd be like, man, this is cool.
Where they talked about like Shaggy's
yeah.
belt buckles and
Yeah.
stuff.
Like,
Oh, my.
behind
Dude,
the
I remember
scenes
seeing that one
information.
time. It was on like the Hanna-Barbera's Greatest Picks, and I always rented it from the Wakarusa video
Yeah,
store.
like it was on those direct-to-video releases.
Yeah,
That they
and
talked
I
about.
only thought it had the Sonny Bono and Cher meet them on it, and one time I just decided to hit the fast forward button afterwards, and there was like 3 more episodes. At the end, there's like some documentary that I still haven't been able to locate. Like Shaggy was actually known as Buzz before his 11th birthday. Like stuff like
His
that.
hair wasn't
Yeah,
the same.
was
That's
short.
right. Yeah, yeah. And then I would think like they'd really be scandalous behind the scenes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were just cartoons.
Can
So-
I want to throw in another one here that I just thought of. Do we want to do favorite episode? I mean, we're kind of on those lines, but first episode you saw of Scooby Doo, if you can remember.
The one I remember the most.
Or favorite, if you can't remember.
The one I
We'll do
remember the
that.
most, or at least like have most nightmares about, maybe the Mummy one. I just remember that for a long time, and
Yeah.
I like remember I was tying my shoes. That's when I learned to tie my shoes. I was watching that.
Is there one that
That's
happened in a
awesome.
sawmill somewhere?
Yeah.
The werewolf,
the Yeti
maybe?
one. Like the
Oh,
The
yeah.
snow, yeah, no, that's right.
Because they cut the log in half or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
I feel like
And-
that one always sticks out to me.
Yeah.
The one that always sticks out to me is when the gang is going boating and the boat gets they get
Haunted
shipwrecked
Isle.
on the haunted isle.
Haunted
yeah.
Isle,
And
yeah.
It was
one of my favorite all-time lines from Scooby Doo is when the ghost says, "Now you will pay."
And there's that laugh. I
yeah,
can't even try to do
and
it.
Shaggy's
Like,
like,
how about 2 bits?
"That's one of my all-time favorite lines."
Yeah.
So-
Go ahead.
The whole clue thing. Like, do you think that they immediately think it's a monster, or do you think that they, like, every time it seems
Right.
like Fred or that like Daphne, Scooby, and Shaggy always think it's a monster, but do you think Fred and Velma think it's a person from the start, or only when they find the first clue?
I think Velma is actually one of them on top of it, that it's a person a lot quicker than the rest of the gang.
I think they. Okay, have you seen Scooby Doo on the Zombie Island?
Island?
That was scary.
I never
so
watched that.
scary.
There was that
Well, it
one.
was real though. That was the thing. It
There
wasn't.
was that one scene from it that they were like, yeah, all we ever find is people under these masks, and I feel like they always like lived and thought that these people
Right,
were like actual monsters.
monsters.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
look,
the ghost is a fake. That's what the song was called. They had this like whole scene
But
dedicated.
that whole,
Yeah.
that movie was scary because like
Yeah,
the whole thing with the pirates and the zombies.
Yes, I remember.
I didn't like.
never-
I
the
didn't like
zombies
the-
were creepy too.
I didn't like the whole cat thing at the end.
Yeah, when the
Well,
when
the movie
clock-
was marketed under the like tagline that this time the monsters are real.
Right.
That is so scary. I'm still like it still scares me
Yeah.
to watch that movie.
well, I actually never finished. I was gonna watch it like last summer once just to see like what the big deal
I
was.
bought. It was the first movie I ever bought.
And I watched the beginning just because it was like, because and this is for later too, but in the Scooby Doo movie they sort of like separate and come back together, and this was sort of another story of that. So I watched it up until they got back together, and then I'm like, no,
well,
no more.
I mean, like my parents almost didn't let me watch it.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
mine-
I remember thinking like, should I really be watching this? Like they used voodoo dolls
Yeah.
to control the gang.
Right? Like you don't want to.
That's just
There's just so much creepy stuff.
Do you
about
think
it, though. I mean,
like,
just everything?
It's odd how the gang. Well, it's also classic though. Like how everywhere they go, like they meet a person dressed up as a monster, like a
Yeah.
monster.
Well-
Not just like a bad person, but like.
But it's
happens
all
they're dressed up.
it's all around Coolsville. I think was what it was eventually
yeah.
named.
That's a
Coolsville drew the monsters.
That's
in,
pretty
I believe.
I mean,
crazy
I
because,
feel like they have like a wide variety. I feel like it's like a small town, you know, like many of us are accustomed to around here.
Well, it's a
country
pretty
type
awesome
town.
though, because there's like
Right, they have the
there's
mall
like
shop.
Wait, what is
mall shop, and then
Coolsville?
like they go
Coolsville's
a
the
bit
city
outside.
and I feel like the insane people like are in like I feel like it's like
Zombie Island was in Louisiana though.
But
that's a vacation.
different,
I'm
though.
talking
Yeah,
about
they took a
like
vacation,
Scooby
I
Doo.
thought.
Where are you? It's all
Yeah.
most of them are around Coolsville.
Or
I mean,
like
you know,
in
it's
the
a town.
surrounding area, like they maybe go on a boat trip or something.
Right,
Okay.
right. So I feel like that town has like a lot of good people, but yet at the same time, like because they're like that, the people are like, oh, you know, let's scare them off so I can get like I feel like there's those few rotten eggs, as they say, you know, that just
So tell us about Geoff.
Okay, so I was doing some research and I found out that instead of Shaggy and Fred, I think it was that they originally named Scooby Doo Too Much because it was like a common phrase then, like, oh, that's too much. And they had a character. They had two characters named Geoff and Ronnie in place of Fred. And then the producers just got rid of it because they didn't like it and replaced it with Scooby Doo and Fred. But could you imagine like talking about a show like, oh, and Geoff did this? Like it would totally change.
or like too much. Where are you?
Yeah,
That
too
just
much,
sounds.
too much,
I don't
too
know
much.
if they would have had "Where Are You,"
Yeah.
but yeah.
Or like what the theme song would have been. Like imagine if.
I don't think it would have lasted for 40 years like Scooby Doo has. I just
No.
don't.
It's a
Yeah.
good name, really. I mean, it's a little nonsensical. Scooby Doo, not too much.
Okay.
Not too
okay.
much. Too much is an
I was
awful
like,
thing.
Scooby Doo's like original. No one would think of it. Like people were like,
They-
hey, they actually named
What
their
if-
dog something pretty cool. Like you know.
Far Out. They could have named the dog Far Out.
Yeah.
I feel like
Groovy.
that would have been slightly more successful than Too Much. But.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the other series? Like,
I want to know, how do you feel about when they did like Scooby Doo tag teams with like Batman or the Harlem
Yeah,
Globetrotters?
Oh,
they had a whole
Harlem.
series devoted to that.
How did you feel about that?
I like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Batman one was okay.
I never saw the Batman.
Harlem Globetrotters.
I loved them when I was really little. Watching them again as more of a mature person, like I feel like why is Batman? Because again, I'm a fan of the more current Batman. So like having Batman be like, "Oh, Robin, you're in a speedo," like having that Batman hanging out with the gang, and,
They
and
always have,
plus
like,
I don't
guest
see.
stars like
Yeah.
in that series.
But I
Like
like them on their
Don
own.
Knotts.
I just like them on their own.
Right,
It's
yeah.
I agree.
nostalgic. It's
It's better.
got meaning.
The other thing is, yes, there are references to it being in the 60s, lots of that stuff, but I can still watch, like, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And say, oh, well, they're just in a town with, like, no cell coverage, and, like, it's modern, and Fred just wears a bad tie. Like, but then, like, when you throw in, like, Scooby-Doo meets Sonny and Cher, and Sonny is, like, 25, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, this wasn't yesterday, like...
Well, I wouldn't know who Sonny and Cher were at that time, so it could totally slip by.
Yeah.
Or the
Oh,
thing
true.
I like about Where Are You better than like What's New Scooby Doo and stuff is in What's New it looks so real and then it just turns out every time it's like a robot. Mm-hmm. But like, and Where Are You it's usually just like a person or
Right.
like, but they use like cool technology like projections.
Yeah, like
and,
projections. There's
That
always
was
the
so
It's not.
cool. Big ghost.
It's not just like
The
oh my-
white
like
sheet.
not just like this is real and it turns out to be a robot.
Right.
I also thought it was funnier. Where Are You was funnier than the other series have been. I think.
I actually,
Funnier
I know,
and
I
a
watched
bit
it.
like scarier at the same time. Not just like a weird. They always like go to like tropical places too. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that again, the other week, and my neighbor and I stayed up, pulled an all-nighter, watched all the Scooby-Doos back-to-back, skipped a couple episodes, but, beside the point. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Watching it back, I never thought it was funny when I was little. I thought I was like, why are those people laughing? He's just a dog. But I was sitting there, and I literally, like, laughed out loud a few times.
Yeah,
so-
there are
Yeah.
some great lines.
Like the fog's so thick you could cut it with a knife.
and he pulls one out.
a knife and cuts the fog.
Then he takes a bite. I'm like, what did that taste
Did you
like?
see
Yeah.
the episode where they're like going down this like haunted street and there's this man at the side with a lantern or something and then there's a sign and then Shaggy says, "Well, I hope it's an ad for shaving cream." And I don't know. It's just those kind
Random.
of. I know those kind of lines. They're not in the new stuff.
Another thing, can I just ask? Okay, all of us except, well, I think Landon and I are closer to the age of the gang, but you guys are older than the gang would be. They were 16 in the show.
No,
They don't-
They seem
don't-
like 20s.
At least
They were 16
They
in
were
the
in
show.
high school,
Shaggy
though.
was 17, and he like had it like because in that new movie
They're almost
he provides the
ageless.
mystery machine. Like I feel like Fred could have been like 25.
Definitely.
in the show, Fred
But
looks
yeah,
like
I mean that's true.
20-something.
You always see them doing like at the dance, the school dance.
Right, they're at the school dance. Like,
Were they losers at their school, or were they cool?
well, I
I
feel
like
like
to think they were cool.
They were. I don't know.
Fred was a cool guy.
He was cool.
Fred and
Daphne
Daphne
was
were
like the
cool.
hot people.
yeah, like
Okay.
they were the it couple.
But then somehow they got together with these other people.
Well, okay,
What are their
and-
origin stories?
And Fred, Fred, I'm always going to defend Fred because I love Fred. Fred, I played Fred in a movie we made once.
That's a great
I might put that up for you
Besides
guys,
Daphne
but
being
it
my
probably
least
won't
favorite,
happen.
I didn't really like Fred that much.
Dude, I loved Fred.
I think everybody's favorite person is Scooby and Shaggy.
No,
Yeah,
I used to
definitely.
hate
Your favorite
Scooby and Shaggy.
duo.
It was Fred.
No, Scooby and Shaggy definitely take the cake.
Why would you like Fred?
Because he was so awesome. He was the leader. He
wasn't cool at all.
He didn't do anything.
I thought he was a jerk.
What happened while he
He-
was off looking for clues? Like
he never.
Are you implying something, Jesse?
I am implying.
All right,
they don't
here
find
we
any
go with the
clues?
conspiracy.
Let's talk about some Scooby-Doo conspiracies.
All
How about-
right.
They're
okay,
there.
Fred and Daphne are openly a couple.
Nah.
Yes, they
No.
all.
It seems like they are.
At the dances,
seems
they're
like-
always dancing together.
Right, but Jesse, they are actually less open as a couple among their friends, who you would think they would trust more than at the thing. So, are they? Is it more of a show thing?
I'm just saying they always go off to look for clues,
Right.
And they
then-
never show them
But
looking for
Scooby
clues.
and Shaggy always find the clues. Like, just at least
Maybe
one at a
Velma
time.
maybe picks up something.
Right.
But, or you know,
Jinkies, I lost my glasses.
sometimes Velma will actually go with them. One time, Velma like dropped her glasses right in front of her. She goes like this, and then she speeds off like 50 feet ahead of her.
Is that the one where she goes to the wall?
She goes in the wall. How did your glasses go that far ahead of
Well,
her?
that and how do you not see? And they were black glasses with like blue lenses.
Is she like?
How do you not
actually
see
blind?
them?
Like she's like.
She had to. I remember that episode. She
Yeah.
literally puts her head.
That's my favorite part.
Let's talk about another conspiracy.
Well, was Shaggy a hippie stoner? Right?
I don't know. It seems like
I deny it. I mean,
I say yes.
he fits the
I
persona.
think maybe a
He fits the
hippie,
time period.
but not like the drug hippie.
I don't think he was into drugs.
No.
Definitely.
Well,
no,
okay,
no.
there's an argument. I'm sorry, you done. I tend to cut people off.
I'm good.
Okay, so there was the reason that Shaggy and Scooby Doo are always hungry. This argument has been made is that they have the munchies.
What are the munchies?
That's what you get.
You,
Yeah.
you smoke marijuana,
You get
and
munchies.
then once it kind
No.
of wears off, you get really really hungry.
No.
So this conspiracy was that Shaggy,
dogs don't
that
do that
Shaggy
kind
and
It's like,
if Scooby Doo was second-handing marijuana smoke from Shaggy, I mean,
it's a kid's show.
There's
No.
another conspiracy out there that Scooby snacks have some sort of like drug in them.
oh,
or
like yeah,
something.
like
conspiracies are all
they're
bogus.
bogus.
Well,
I
no,
say.
but-
this is a kid's show.
But-
no way is
well,
Shaggy
okay.
smoking
Okay, can I-
marijuana.
can I-
There
No,
are big
but-
kid shows though that
There are
went.
conspiracies
Okay.
about like all shows. Like
I'm
this,
sorry,
though.
Right.
Justice League. I gotta throw in. It's Warner Brothers property, so I'm gonna throw it in there because it's slightly related. I was watching an episode yesterday, which is for a future episode too, Saturday morning cartoons. But I was watching an episode yesterday. It is a kid's show. It's rated Y7, which I think it means young, like 7 years old.
Yeah.
Should be the minimum or whatever. I'm watching this as a 16-year-old kid going, there is some... I caught like 3 sexual references in
like
this
in
show.
iCarly is like filled with them.
Yeah. So you
I
can't
don't
say
like
just
iCarly.
because it's a kid's show it didn't happen. They didn't
Right. I
explicitly...
think that's all the more reason because then they're just like
Shaggy wasn't walking around with a joint in his mouth, but I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't like on
when the
weekends.
camera was off of him.
Right.
I like
what
to
do
think
you-
he wasn't, but
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
think
I
about
agree.
Velma?
Velma? Well, I think she's a lesbian.
No. She was just too nerdy for guys to be attracted to her.
I don't know, Colin.
Wait, so you seriously think that Velma's a lesbian?
I'm saying that there's been many people that agree with my view of Velma.
What are your reasons for
Yeah.
thinking that?
I will give you reasons to not think that. She
Go
and
ahead.
Shaggy are always dancing together at the school dances.
They seem
No.
like
They
good
were a
friends.
couple.
Not
They
a
were
couple.
a couple.
They weren't a couple. They were
No,
just friends.
They had a crush on each other, I say.
Wait,
a
who
little.
did?
Shaggy and Velma.
Oh right, yeah,
That was the thing,
Yeah,
a
I
little.
would agree with
Velma
that.
might have had something for Shaggy, but Shaggy just wanted to be him and his dog. Because if you didn't notice, every time Velma's like, "Oh, I'm dancing with Shaggy," and he's like, "Oh, like yeah, you are," and then like Scooby's like, "Come on, Raggy," and then like Scooby Doo kicks Velma to the side of the thing. Stands up on his hind legs, which is tough work for a dog that weighs 200 pounds,
yes,
and gets up, dances with Shaggy, and eats corn
what
on
are
the
your
cob.
But it doesn't
What are
mean
your
that Velma
reasons for
doesn't like.
thinking-
It doesn't mean that Velma doesn't like. Shaggy.
I'm just saying,
What
I
are
don't
your
think
reasons-
Shaggy likes Velma as
Well,
much.
that's okay. That's not what we're talking.
What are
about.
your
They're
reasons
very
for thinking that Velma is
Because of the multiple people who have written on the
besides
subject.
that?
The fact that she's never... I mean, look, Fred and Daphne are always like, oh, we gotta go over here, and then like
Well, 'cause
you know,
she's no friends?
Shaggy and Scooby
Is that
are
why
like...
She
and,
has no appeal, Dane.
but I'm saying, if she ever
Have you
had...
seen her skirt?
If she
Ugly
ever...
and
if she
not
ever-
liking guys
There was
is
never a
different.
time period when that skirt was in. So,
I understand that, but if she ever got a date anywhere. I mean, like Seth Green, she dated him in the movie, okay?
Right.
She would have brought him to the gang and was like, hey, meet my boyfriend. Or, you know, meet my girlfriend. You know, she never did that, so I don't know what that means.
Because she
I'm-
didn't
None of
have
them
enough
ever brought.
appeal.
Shaggy never brought in a girlfriend. Is he gay?
Shaggy, I whistled. I don't know what happened, I don't know how that happened, but Shaggy was not in. I don't think he really cared at that point.
He was
I
a
think
dog lover.
He was a dog
care.
lover.
He was too involved with
She was a
Scooby.
nerd. She was too into her computers and stuff.
Well, look,
And
if you
books.
own a
And
talking
finding your
dog,
glasses.
I don't think I want to have time to pursue women. I'll be like,
I
I,
would-
have a freaking talking dog, people. Okay, this is like, you know,
He's your best
Yeah.
friend.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the movie. The
The live action movie?
there's two of them actually.
4, actually.
Four.
There were,
No.
No,
There
they
were-
did the two.
there were the two-
big Hollywood ones, and
Right.
then they released 2 more on
Cartoon
TV.
Network. It was a Cartoon Network
okay.
TV movie. I actually watched the one.
And the animated talking Scooby was far worse than the last 2.
It's so fake.
Yeah,
Did
it
the
was
voices
super
sound
fake.
totally different?
Not
I think they've done a
too
good job of
bad.
keeping the voices the same, actually.
Yeah.
Even in the movie, it's a live action.
Matthew Lillard did a great job as Shaggy, I
Yeah.
thought.
See, I've heard some people think that he's too up in the whiny, you know, like Casey Kasem occasionally would just switch almost to his regular voice and just start talking, where Matthew Lillard is so up here and he's like, hey, I'm Shaggy, and it's like it's uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, I thought he was okay, especially because he has the look to him, like,
Right.
Yeah,
definitely.
the look.
you know, he's
Definitely.
gone through, you know, the movie. I thought if you were going to